And so episode 8 is born. Welcome in, everybody. We're back again.
Episode
Um,
8. Finally!
we had a couple of weeks off for a lot of different reasons. We had some personal reasons. We had some just crazy things happening. So we did take a couple of weeks off. We are
2 weeks
back.
to be exact.
Yeah. So we're back. We're doing our thing. I'm not going to try to move a lot because my chair is real creaky. But yeah, it's been, I don't know. It's been chaotic. It's we're seeing a lot of new things popping up, a lot of things explained that aren't necessarily really explained, and I don't know. I've got like this overwhelming just frustration about me right now.
Frustration is one way to put it. It's a feeling of uncertainty with things.
Yeah, everything's up in the air, guys. I mean, like, not to get too political, but we're talking a little bit about this. You know, one of the things that with the election, the winner Trump was saying that he was going to do this mass deportation of criminals. And in the beginning of his campaign, it was, murderers and rapists, these terrible, terrible people. So who's not going to sign on for that, right? Yeah, I agree. That's terrible. And then slowly, that rhetoric started just becoming criminals, which then fell into a gray category about if you're here illegally, are you considered a criminal, so on and so forth. And now that he's actually implemented this mass deportation, we're finding out rarely is it a criminal. Majority are people who are just trying to get citizenship here. So that's been disheartening. And there's been a couple of things that have popped up already as far as disclosure aspects that I'm sitting back going, come on, we don't want more of the same. I mean, if you're not going to be honest with us, just be a politician and play the game. But I have been disappointed. Number one, highly with that. Secondarily, the drone explanation was just absolutely weak. It was
That
so
was
weak.
complete. That was so deflating. And just kind of to give you guys my take on that. Hmm, all I have to say about that, the immigration thing, and I don't care if you agree with me, disagree with me, whatever, is to be fair, he said the entire time when he was running his campaign that he was going to launch the biggest mass deportation this country has ever seen. He did say that. He did. He did. So it's happening. Um, when that would come up as a concern to people, wait a minute, whoa, 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 whoa. If he does that, there's people here that are in process. There's people that want to try and get their citizenship. That it was always, oh no, no, but he's not going to go after those people. He's going to go after the hardened criminals. He's going to go after the worst of the worst first. That was something he was saying, and it turns out that that was kind of shifted the other way. And
That was a
now,
lie.
yeah, it was a lie. And now, even the press secretary said when they asked her, she's like, "Listen, if you are here and you've crossed our borders and you broke the law, you are a criminal." They asked her of the immigrants that you have detained, how many of them have criminal records, not just here illegally. And her response was, all of them, because they all broke the law to be here. So hey, he did what he promised, right? People voted for that, and whatever. Some people can say, "Well, yeah, they were here," but I mean, it's there's a lot more to it, a lot more to it than just that. Now, the other thing about that is, and not to get too political, because I this is about a lot of stuff, right? But it's what's in our face right now. So to be fair, it's kind of like, how can you not get political if you're
Right.
living and breathing? Things are political. So the other thing about that is these what's happening now is a direct result of the gigantic mistake that the previous administration did when they
Oh
just
yeah.
said, "All right, everybody," and everybody just came in, and there's no way, honestly, that a government's going to be able to keep up with vetting and keeping track of that many people. So it's kind of like something I've always been saying. They're all in on it. It's kind of like it was a setup. Believe me, don't believe me, I don't care. I've been saying that for a long time. People always say the right wing and the left wing are part of the same bird. I've always said, hey guys, quit fighting, quit fighting. Each wing wants us fighting. The when the right wing's doing something over here, the left wing is silently doing something over here. Hey, we got your attention. And then when the left wing's the one doing something over here, the right wing's kind of doing. I've been saying this for a long time. I have felt it. I have felt it in me. That it's they're all in on it. I remember I used to say, I think they're all in, and you'd be like, well, and
And part of it too is that the because every action has an equal and opposite reaction, right? So every action has an equal and opposite reaction. So what we're looking at is one side the last 4 years went so extreme one way and got a lot of people just angry and almost out of their heads angry, like I want the exact opposite of this. So now we're getting the exact opposite of it. And a lot of those people are very happy because they're not seeing the consequences that it's causing in millions and millions and millions of people's lives. So they're not seeing that part of it. So that's terrible. And you could say that. You could say, did this set this up? Was this all part of the plan? Is this just the deep state doing what the deep state does and controlling us one way or the other? Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a possibility because we all get involved in the politics of things, and I think that we're a society that really is taught to root for one team or the other, right? We have our football teams, we have our baseball teams, we have our hockey teams, we have our, and we're taught to be that fan where, no matter what the team does, it doesn't make a difference. Yeah, it was a personal foul, but it wasn't that bad. You always make excuses for your team. You always make excuses for those things that are going on. The key in this is to be somebody who maybe says, I love what you're doing here. I hate what you're doing here. And try to at least be open about it. Because one thing we've always prided ourselves on is being as moderate as we possibly can and not taking too hardline stance on anything without knowing 100% of the fact.
and like I've said in one of the previous episodes, I don't remember which one it was, but if you guys go back and find it, I don't remember which episode it was, but I will say Chris says that I'm so moderate, like almost to a fault, like where it's like, and I am, but when people say, "Man, you're always switching," no, I'm not always switching. I'm always stating what I'm calling out the BS. See, I don't follow blindly. You understand? And I don't think anybody should follow blindly. I really do not believe that anyone anywhere should follow blindly. I think if you're following something and because at the end of the day, they're supposed to be serving the people.
Well, and that's speaking of which, just because right now, at the time we're recording this, Bobby Kennedy is in the middle of his hearings to possibly become the oh God, what was the title? Secretary of Health and
Yeah,
Human,
yes,
and which
to make us healthy.
to most people I think are really rooting for that, for somebody to actually go in and question the science and do the research to find out why every 36 child that's born has autism today. We want to find out why. Why are all these ingredients in American food and in no one else's? We have all these things that we know deep down we know are hurting us very
Why are
badly.
Americans so overweight? Why,
Exactly. Why
you know,
we're in an epidemic. I think they said 60% of all Americans are morbidly obese, and it goes on
we're
from
not
there.
ashamed. This is just talking health
No, no,
wise.
no. This is
It's not healthy.
it's not health. There's a reason that in Europe. Well, my friend Kalani went
and he
to
says the food is just
yeah,
so
and he's
pure.
a big guy, and he likes to eat, and that's what he went. He went over there and he became like a ghost hunting food critic, right?
Yeah,
And he started he's eating 10, 12 meals a day just to do food critic, and he's losing weight. He's losing weight. Why is that? Why is that? So a lot of us, when Trump went up uh, as the candidate, and then was joined by Bobby Kennedy, a lot of us then were like, okay. A lot of people got sold at that point because they said, you know what? It's not all about what Trump wants. Some of it, yeah, but the other side of it, if we get Kennedy into a position where he can really dissect what's happening to us health wise, we can go for that because it was a bipartisan kind of look at it. He's a Democrat through and through, whatever you want to call him. He's still a Democrat, so it's not like we he changed colors and did something different. You have a bipartisan ticket for the most part, working through this thing through the entire cabinet. But now he is being the most scrutinized, villainized of all the people that have stepped in front of Congress to this point. Why is that? It's because people are getting paid by big pharma. They're getting paid by these huge companies to keep us ill, to keep us sick, to keep us down.
there's no money in the cure of stuff.
No,
Yeah,
there's no
so
money. You
yeah,
have to get somebody sick and then find a cure that just gets them well enough that they can put something else on you so you
no.
can get more sick. So that's where we're at with that. So right now, what we're getting is that Bobby's up in front of this, and they're like, we don't know if he's going to get the confirmation. And at the time of this recording, we don't know if he's going to get the confirmation.
They
And
treated him really badly.
I think more important than anything that's happening right now, he has to get in because we need someone to be a watchdog. We need someone to get in there and really tear this thing down.
And just to be clear to anybody watching, um, the reason why we're talking about it is because it's what's happening right now. The reason why we're talking about
Yeah.
the team man in charge right now is because he was sworn in. He's the one who's in charge right now. And I will always say, oh, those of you that are watching, and I don't care who you support, who you voted for. You know what, like
It should make no difference.
it doesn't make a difference to me. Um, there's certain things that I don't stand behind. I don't stand behind racism. I don't stand behind bigotry. I don't stand behind, all of that stuff. But I'm getting off track. I'm rambling like I always do. But the main thing that what I'm trying to say is the reason why we're talking about this right now is because it's what's happening. It's what's so out there, and it's everything all at once, right? Like all these different changes. It's like boom, 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 and there's not enough time for people to take things in, and so I was, my interest is in all. I want to know, okay, what's going on here? What's going on there? What does this mean? What is? And it's all happening at the same time, and I kind of feel like it's happening so fast purposefully because people can't pay enough attention that way. Can't pay enough attention that way. There's too much happening. It's too chaotic. So many things that probably shouldn't go through are going to go through. And then with the explanation of what those UFO things were, that explanation really after the part that I don't buy is that before he was sworn in, um, he was also demanding we need to know and we're going to demand to get to the bottom of this and why don't we know this and why and also believing that it was possibly something you know uh, otherworldly or whatever. And now all of a sudden, oh no, don't worry, guys, it's no big deal. It's nothing.
Yeah, it
It's
died really
nothing.
fast. And speaking to what you spoke of before, really quickly, I want to be clear too, because you're talking about the lightning speed of things that are happening. I think nobody can deny that. If you whether you're watching this now and watching what's happening, or looking back at his first week, 2 weeks in office, you're going to go back and say, "Holy shit, he went fast." There's two sides to it. The first side, which I agree, maybe make everybody's head spin so we don't know what's going on and we're all lost and confused in that situation. The other side of it too may be the fact that he's moving quickly to uh, confuse and root out the deep state. That's the other side that goes along with this.
I don't know.
Yeah, and that's the question. I mean,
I and I'm going to say it now because I've always said it, and when it comes out, because I know it's going to come out, they say, "Holy shit, D was right." Listen, guys, there's more of us, and the important thing is to keep us divided, to keep us. It's an illusion. The Democrat, the Republican, it's all BS. It's about keeping the bottom class down, and that's what it is. There's an oligarchy right now. It's always been an oligarchy. It's always been, but now it really is. You've
yeah.
got
Well, and I do believe it has been because I know for a fact that we have the deep state, the rulers, the controllers, all the different things. You always wonder: is there somebody who's going to be able to come in and knock that down? Is it an illusion? We're going to find out. We're in the position where now we'll know for sure.
I mean, you can't. It was a perfect like, with the immigration situation. It was a perfect setup. Both sides working together, right? One side letting them all in, the other side, oh, how dare you do that? Then they come in. We're gonna get rid of all of them. We're not even gonna vet them. We're gonna get rid of even the ones that have been here, for years, working honest jobs, paying taxes, being part of the economy, being the backbone of the country. You know, uh, making the country great. Those are getting sent back, and you know what? By definition, they are criminals because they broke the law to be here. So, it's like one of those things. It's just.
Mm.
So I feel like they're working together.
It's possible. I mean, like
If
I
I'm
said,
wrong, hey,
but one thing I can promise you is whenever we come on here, we're going to talk. We might not agree about everything, but
we don't. That's how you know.
but when we're going to be doing these shows, we'll talk about it because and the reason that I think the government's so important is like don't talk about politics. I'm talking about the deep state, the controllers, the people that are there. Really, when we're talking about politics, we are talking about those people because we've got to figure out who's what's going on back here while this person's up front, or is the person up front defying the people in back? That's what we got to find out because we're not going to be free until we figure that out.
I think that the with immigrants right now, with the Hispanic people, they're the next people, I guess, on the chopping block. And I this is another thing you can back me on this. I had said, years ago, no, I feel something coming, and I feel like there's going to be a lens or like just an arrow on Hispanic people, and people would always tell me like you or other people, oh, that there's no way that could happen this day and age. Like after all that's all our advancement and civil rights and everything, that we wouldn't allow that to happen, and it's been happening. And then it's the reason why it's happening is because some people see it as just, some people see it as this is fair what's happening, and let me also back up a minute. I do agree, because I'm an American citizen. I'm an American. I live in this country. I've lived in this country all my life. So I do agree that if there are criminals coming in, we need to get them out 100%.
Oh yeah, we both said that.
Yeah. But like beyond that, it's like, whoa, wait a minute. What are you doing? These are people that have, some of them already in process to hopefully keep working towards. And then that was halted. And so that's why I feel like it was all some sort of a like deep state setup or whatever that, well, before he comes in, we'll have this guy mess it all up because it's all a show. All the world is a stage, right? And so we'll let this guy mess it up so fucking bad that when he comes in, he's got to fix it. And
You do have to look at that aspect of it. I mean, just to see both sides. We've never had such an incompetent human being um, in charge, quote unquote, in charge before, and somebody so extreme who just let these things go through. So there is a possibility that he was literally just put as a figurehead of destruction and let it all happen. And then this guy might be, if it's all a play, he might be the cleanup crew who comes in and takes care of everything. Because, and I'll say this, the one thing that I absolutely have seen is the blatant, disgusting racism that's come out of this. I mean, I don't care what side of the fence you're on or whatever, what you believe, who should be or shouldn't be here. Human beings are human beings, and that's all there is to it, right? And whether you snuck into a country illegally or you're doing this or that, you're still a human being. Whether you're a criminal or somebody who's great, you're still a human being and need to have the respect of being a human being to a certain degree. Um, and it's been a green light for the good old racist community that's out there to say, well, this gives us permission to be vile, cruel,
yeah.
disgusting. I don't care if you're an American citizen or if you're here illegally, you're the same non-human. That it's these are crazy, crazy things that are being said. I've never experienced this in my lifetime. I've never heard people say the quiet part out loud, especially in public situations before. Um, and it's shocking. This does take me back to a time probably before I was ever born, when people used to, you'd see news clips and the way people would print things
I
in the
mean,
newspaper.
but it's been around. We've seen racism. You can't
Oh,
say that
we've
you've
seen
got.
racism, but it's never been in a situation where people feel okay just with each other to be racist. Most of the
It's just
time,
it
if somebody's going to do a racial slur, it's they put the hand over the mouth and say it to somebody, make sure nobody's around and say it. It's not that now. Now,
no.
now it's empowered.
Yeah, right now it's empowered. People feel empowered to say that, and they feel safe to say it. Like there's been a safe space created for racists,
Hmm.
um, which is ironic because that's what they hate. They hate safe spaces. They used to make fun. We're tired of safe spaces. We're tired of political correctness. Well, of course they are. They don't want to be politically correct because they want to be racist, right? So, and the reason why we're saying this is because we have seen how people are. Facebook is just a toxic soup of
I won't even go
posts.
on there. The
It's
only
a
time I go on is when she tells me something's happening there.
it's a toxic soup of posts over there.
Thanks, Mark. Thanks.
And there's people just spreading lies, and then if you come up and say, well, this is what's actually happening, this, oh, that's like, but it doesn't stop there. What it stops is like I'll see people that I had on my friends who I've just been like deleting because I don't need racists on my friend list, right? But like you'll see people making comments on other posts, or somebody put up something like, yeah, deporting all immigrants, and then in the comment section you see the comments that they're having, and it'll be something like people openly asking as a joke, they're openly asking, is it okay to use the term wet now? And then people laughing, ha ha ha, I don't know, I guess so, they're all going back. And I'm sitting here, and these are people that I know, who I didn't know were this way, and I should have, right? Stupid me. And so I'm looking at this, and I'm like, what in the what? And then, okay, maybe it's just that one instance. I keep scrolling, and I see another one, and another one, and another one, and I'm seeing all these things. So of course, me, who I think it's so important for people to call out racism the moment you see it, because if you don't call it out and stop it, it's going to keep going, and it's going to get worse and worse and worse and worse and worse if you're silent about it. So here I go, posting, wow, the racism is really rampant right now. Wow, people are really showing posting that, not fighting, not calling anyone names, and then getting attacked with people. It's so stupid. People commenting on my post when I put that out. Things like, wow, so I'm racist because I want them to go back and come over here the right way. And I'm like, did I say you? Let me define the definition of racism is when you belittle, make fun of, and treat someone as subhuman by name calling or such, criticize, blame them for things. That's being racist. Saying that you want a criminal to go back isn't racist. So you see, people, it's like if you felt it was for you, look at yourself in the mirror. Why did you think that my comment saying, wow, people are being racist right now? Why did you think it was for you? So that's what I've been going through. And it's one of those things that's enraging because people don't see you can't make those jokes. There's a meme saying, oh, ice trap, and it's just this disgusting meme using Mexican stereotypes and putting it out there. And I'm like, this is fucking racist. It's fucking racist, and I'm calling it out and people telling me, and I'm like, no, I'm not being too sensitive. I'm just being what it is. If it's bothering you, good. Let it bother you some more. I'm not going to accommodate your feelings so that you can keep being, And so it's just one of those things that I've seen people. Why do people feel safe being racist now?
Yeah.
Because we're being told to hate a certain group of people.
I there's so many different things that go along with this, and we're not going to solve it sitting here right now, obviously. But that's why I miss, as a Gen Xer, I miss kind of that '80s era, because we were more of a melting pot at that point, where we knew everybody had different traditions and cultures and beliefs and different, and we it was lighthearted enough that we could make fun of it with each other, and understand through comedy, and understand through talking, and understand through TV shows that, all these different things about one another. And I think it's become so taboo, and it's become so hidden, that people have built up these things almost on their own, and now it's all coming out. And just because, and believe me, the last 4 years were one of some of the worst years of my life, but it was so extreme one way that I see people snapping back the other, like I said. But it's not okay. That does not give you the right to just go be an asshole. That does not give you the right to just lash out at everybody. Okay, just because you felt like your rights were taken away, and you had these, that should tell you right there. That should tell you right there. Why then is it okay to go after another group of people the way that you had it done to you? You know, it just doesn't make sense. So
Yeah.
these are the things that I think about a lot, and I know D goes through it constantly, all the time.
Yeah, it's heart wrenching. It's disheartening, and I do have to say, because I don't want there was some people that when that would come and tell me, why do you think, and try to fight, and they didn't stand down, and then there was some people say, whoa, so do you think I'm racist? And I told them, why do you think this is for you? It was one instance, and I said, I'm actually calling out racism. I haven't seen you say that. Oh, and then we talked it out, and they understood where I was coming from. Then I started thinking, because I always think maybe she's been attacked, and so she thought I was, but I was. We solved it, and I never ever, when I put that post out, there were certain people that it wasn't going to go. It was going to the people that I, with my eyeballs, saw were
But it's
making.
funny how other people called themselves out, though, right?
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
they felt like, wait, you're calling me out, and they had to come identify themselves.
yeah, and I was like, and that's the thing. That's when I said, why I'm not saying it for you. Why would you come in? This was because I've seen people definition of racism, and not I wasn't saying it for the people that were saying go back. It's not, and I think because the reason why maybe they felt I was saying it to them was because maybe there's people out there saying if you want them to go back, you're racist. No, that doesn't make you racist. What makes you racist is if you're racist.
Right.
And I was calling out people that now think it's okay to call Hispanics, Latin people, Hispanics, Mexican people, Dominicans, all these people that are being uh, uh, to call them subhuman, to call them animals, to call them all these names,
I mean, you just look at it this
to
way.
call Mexicans wet, you know.
If you take yourself, whatever, you look in the mirror and you see yourself with religion, race, color, whatever, and just turn that for a second and just think about, what if everybody all of a sudden turned on you, and basically just said at that point that
Mm-hmm.
we hate this type of person now, and we're going to start calling them names, and threaten their lives, and say that they have no rights, and you would freak out. Well, why is everybody after me? How do you think that they feel?
Yeah.
This is a huge, huge part of our population, and you will never understand anybody's situation until you walk a mile in their shoes. If
Mm-hmm.
you're a criminal, bye, see you. You either
Yeah.
need to be in jail or deported. I don't care where you go. You just if you're hurting people, get out. That's all there is to it. Okay. But if you're a good human being, let's work something out. Let's figure this out. That's what needs to happen.
Yeah, there needs to
So,
be an easy way for people that are here, that want to be here, that have been working, that have made a life here, that have jobs, small businesses.
well, that's why and I brought this up with you before, and
Hmm.
we've talked about. For those of you who don't understand, it's almost impossible for Mexican citizens to become United States citizens in an easy way. European,
I mean, it's
yeah,
possible. There are some
yeah,
that have done
there
it.
are some,
Yeah,
but
several that have
for
done
the
it.
most
Several.
part,
Yeah,
it's very difficult for the most part
it
because
is.
there's rules and regulations and all sorts of different things. Every other part of the world, it's pretty easy to become, a citizen, for the most part. But from Mexico to America, almost it's very hard. So there's reasons they have to go about it the way that they do. And I know, to the person who doesn't understand that, I used to live up north,
You used
so
to have that same way of
I
thinking.
never had any idea. I would say the same thing. I said, well, if they want to be here, why don't they just come in
Yeah, when I
legally?
first met you, used to say, "Well, you
And
have
our
to understand."
teachers and our leaders would say, yeah, exactly. They just need to do it legally. I don't understand why they don't do it that way. See, these people, they don't want to follow the rules. They're breaking the rules. They're doing that. So they very quietly, and this is again Rockefeller and the deep state, start brainwashing you early on, saying, oh no, these people are all they're criminals. They come in here, they take your jobs, they do this, they do that, and you have no counter. There's nobody else coming go, wait a minute, that's not true. Da 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 da. You're literally being fed this information. So if you're being fed the information and there's no counter to it, it is what it is. So for me, it was very different when moving down, to the border, and starting to meet people and get to know people and hear about the things that they've gone through and the stripes and the different aspects of their lives and their culture and the different things, and completely my view, because I now live it. I live it every single day. That's why I'm a little more tolerant of people, not the racists. Don't get me wrong. Nobody deserves to call people names and say that kind of thing. But the people who just go, well, they're all, yeah, they're supposed to go back. Because you don't know. You don't know. You've never been taught any differently. So let me be the white guy who tells you there's a different way. There's a different way to see this. There's a different way to understand this. So
And the white guy that tells everybody, not all immigrants are rapists and murderers.
no,
And
but that's the thing. They're lumping. And again, in the beginning of Trump's campaign, I swear to you, because I was very adamant watching everything going on, it started at the worst: the criminals, the gang members, the murderers, all they got to go back. Mass deportation. Absolutely, I agree. Get them out of here. These people should not be here.
yeah, but people
But
that know history know what he meant by mass
but
deportation.
very quietly, he started taking out all the defining factors of what he considered to be illegal. And then by the time he was already in office and he just said, we're going to do this mass deportation of all illegal people, he meant everybody at that point. And there's some scary things that go along with it. I'm not, but I know we do deal with conspiracy. We do deal with things.
It's Paranormal Odyssey, but this feels very
It does.
paranormal.
This is
It
paranormal when
feels
it comes to,
dystopian. I'm sorry, it is.
well, because when you start researching, there's some things that are going on that we have to look at in conjunction with what's going on with the mass deportation. Because there's American citizens that are being pulled. First
Hmm.
off, that's number one. Racial profiling for all Hispanic and Latino people. Okay, that's the other side of it. So these are big things. Why? Why is this happening? Why are people's rights being squashed? 14th Amendment or citizen? Why are these happening? And then you have to look into the fact that a lot of politicians follow the money, guys. A lot of politicians have bought into these private jails, right? These privatized jails, which are huge, huge money dumps. These things are taking in a ton of money because when they can't put them into the system, the normal system, guess where these people go that can't be accounted for? They have to go into the private prison system, which then becomes almost like slave labor. So if you don't start, if you're not hearing about the people getting back to their country of origin or the place that they're supposed to go, you're going to start hearing about these people working in these camps or in these jails, And now we're walking back into Germany. We're
Well,
heading back.
he did already say that he was going to open Guantanamo Bay.
He did say, well, Guantanamo's still open, but
Well, I mean, but he was going to open it up to them.
see, so when you start hearing about that, you go, well, why?
And and, and, and mind you, I know he said it's just going to be for the worst of the worst. They don't even want him in the country, but that's what he said. I am willing to bet that that's not the case.
Well, and it's going to be a tricky situation too, because even if these people are, murderers, rapists, they go down the line, um, most of those people are wanted in another country for those crimes. So it wouldn't be upon the U.S. to take them to Guantanamo because it's not their problem at that point. The problem becomes out of the country. So if you do start to see Guantanamo filling up with anything other than people who've committed crimes in America, like people who committed treason, that's a whole other show. The tribunals are supposed to start here soon, which I wouldn't mind that one. But if you start seeing people who are not legally here going there, we got a problem. It's gone way too far at that
But
point.
people are for it. Yeah.
Well, not all of us are for it.
um, and I urge everybody. The reason why I say this is because, real quick, just to backtrack, I'm going to say, I think this was a very slow, deliberate thing that happened. The villainization of immigrants, of all immigrants, because I am not, I am not denying before anyone throws names of victims, and it's very sad. And nobody should ever be um, not the horrible things that have happened to some people at the hands of criminals who happen to be illegal immigrants should never happen. That should never happen. I don't stand for that. I don't stand for those sorts of things, and I absolutely believe that they need to be incarcerated or sent back or something. And but with that being said, the villainization of all, making them villains of all immigrants, lumped together in one category, started back in 2016, um, with the statement, when Mexico sends us these people, they're not sending us their best. They're sending their worst criminals. They're sending us rapists, murderers. They're sending us drug lords. They're sending all those things. That's what he said. And some, I assume, are good people. What are people going to think when the leader that is saying this about people coming from somewhere are all, because they're not sending us their best, they're sending us and some, I assume, are good people. So you see that people that's what's fed. It's like everyone, okay, see that they're not sending us their best, they're sending us all of these, and some might be good. So what's being sent out there is the notion that the majority of these hardworking immigrants are all bad, and there's a few good, but it's too many to even risk those few good ones. So let's send them all back. So it started then, and the sad thing is that we've had this welcoming of immigrants that come in and become the American dream. They come here, they start a life, they work towards citizenship, they work in farms, they some of them start small businesses, some of them become teachers, some of them become so many different. Some of them are college professors. There's so many different professions that they become would be, and it's not, so that was a lie saying that the majority of them are that. And it started then, and people started to believe that and believe that and believe that. And like I said, I am not saying that those things don't happen. It's terrible that these monstrous criminals committed these crimes when they were led into this country. It was terrible what they did to some American citizens, and they're monsters who happen to be immigrants.
Well, I think in that's the on the counter side of it. The thing that really got a lot of average people upset is that these people were given money and cell phones and allowances.
Within the
And
last couple of
yeah,
years.
in the last couple of
Within the
I'm
last
saying
couple of
within the
years.
last 4 years, I'd say
Because before that,
it was not that at all.
no,
But that was the thing, and what was happening, and that does talk to the deep state setup, because what was happening is that Americans were being denied rights that would be given to people who weren't legally here, and housing and motels, and I mean all sorts of different things, and well, hotels. The Astoria had a lot of people in it, and I think that was the buildup of the anger the other way. So now you're seeing the counter to that. But again, that does not give people the right to be nasty,
No,
racist.
and to blanket all of them into that one, and
No,
like I
you
said, doesn't
can't.
give them the right to be nasty and racist and all of these things. And so now people, when he was saying running, saying we're going to launch the largest mass deportation, and everyone was for it. Why? Because they're not sending us their best; they're sending their worst. That's why, which was a lie because there's been many that have been here for years and years and years and years, and they are not that. I am going to say, and then that I urge everybody to look into a very important part of American history that isn't taught, that most people don't know about, which is why it has people like me really um, nervous. It has people like me really seeing, oh my God, the alarm is ringing. Um, there was already an instance where in America they launched the largest mass deportation, and it was implemented in 1954, and it was called Operation Wetback. Okay, that's what it was called. That's what it was named, and it was implemented in 1954. And thousands of Mexican immigrants that were here, some of them had already become American citizens. If you go back and look it up, they had already become American citizens. They were rounded up and they were sent back. Then too, they were also villainized. They were also there was also ideas that were spread before they were able to implement this. It was because they had already caused enough fear into the people, into the other American citizens, saying yes, we need to do this. Um, there was tens of thousands of immigrants that were shoved into buses, boats. They were sent off under the guise that they were criminals. Again, sound familiar? Diseases, all these things. So it was done once, and it was, if you look into it, not just illegal immigrants were sent over. These are some immigrants that had come over with a permission to work under a program called the Bracero program that was put into place to allow people to come and work the fields. They call them migrant workers, and it was the Bracero program. Well, when they implemented this program, they decided that that was already unlawful, and that was that they had to, no, that doesn't count anymore. You got to go back. You're illegal because we're implementing Operation Wetback, which is why they're taking that. This is why they're going in and deporting some of the farmers, some of the
So
farm workers, because some of these farm workers have the same permission. It's another,
essentially, it's 2.0 of the same
yeah.
program. It's just many years later, but
Mm-hmm.
they're implementing the same idea. So, you know, common sense people can figure out what needs to happen, what doesn't need to happen. So, right now, as this is going on, I would just ask you, and I think speaking for Dee, let her speak for herself on this one. Please be human. Please be kind. Please be understanding that millions of people's lives are being affected, and it's not just the people being sent back; it's the families of those people being sent back. It's the people who employed these people. It's the people who were friends with these people. There's a lot of people being affected by it. So, as good as you might think that it is for this country, it's also going to be. It's also going to have a counter to it as well, and expect that to happen. It is going to happen.
Yeah, and there's already people being just rude and ugly about it. Like there was that one reporter, there was a Newsmax reporter that somebody had said, well then if you, because it's true, it feels like people love the culture, don't love the people. And there's people making videos on TikTok about that and saying, well, if go, you have to commit to it. If you don't want this here, then you can't do this, can't do that, can't have the food, can't have, and then he's, or what? And he's eating tacos on the, or what? You gonna come slap it out of my hand? No, look, I'm enjoying it. This is actually really good. Like, come on, like that's
We don't need that.
yeah,
Don't feed the hate. Don't feed the hate, guys. That's all we're saying. And I think the majority of our viewers uh, are open minded enough to understand that. So hopefully, if we reach one of you today that went, you know what, you're right, I need to stop it. Then we've accomplished it. Um,
And to those of you that are like, man, this is supposed to be paranormal, I want to say I'm sorry, but I kind of not because
no, it needed to be discussed,
yeah,
and it's our show. We can do what the fuck we want. So,
it's my show. I can talk about whatever the hell I want,
and
even
honestly,
if it's titled Paranormal Odyssey.
even if you don't like it, so that's just how it is. But we have such a huge following right
Boom,
now.
there you go. There's the paranormal part.
We have such a gigantic, massive following.
I
That I
know.
hope we don't upset three of you. No, we're good, but we're gonna say what we think and all that kind of stuff. I want to end the episode there because I think it's important we just stop right there. But I want to pick it up next week with talking about some of these things that are happening. I'll give you a little preview on that one. We are going to discuss the explanation um, for the drones, which is
Oh my
absolute
gosh.
bullshit. It's
Because they're
not
still
real.
being seen.
Yeah, we're not buying each other. We didn't buy it. Just FYI.
Yeah,
Secondarily, I want to get into the plane crash that took place.
that was important too. We didn't get
Last
to
night.
talk about that.
We're gonna get into that because by the time we get back on next week, we'll have more information.
Okay.
But the last thing I just found out about that was that preview for next week, that the poor little kids that passed away in that flight, that little
Oh.
the skating team or whatever, that was
Yeah,
terrible. They were
yeah.
tiny kids. They were small kids. God bless them, and may they find their way to the light. But the Black Hawk helicopter, which now looks like it was deliberately heading directly for that,
I saw that.
we found out that it was coming from the CIA with what they considered to be a high prize payload, which means they had somebody very important or people on there that they considered to be extremely important. So we're going to get more into that.
Okay, but that's the thing. Are we ever going to find that out?
Well, hopefully by next week we've got another hint. And
we're
if
they don't want us to know things, they keep it from us.
We're
know
pretty
that.
good, though. We're pretty good. Plus, I want to discuss some of the declassified files, some of the things we've been seeing with the declassified MLK, JFK, and his brother. I want to get into that a little bit because Dee and I see it a little bit differently, and I want to talk more about that. But for this week, we're going to go and call it there. Be good to each other, guys.
I want to talk about more ghost things, but there's not a lot of ghost stuff happening.
Well, there's a lot of ghost stuff happening. There's just a lot of scarier shit on top that's happening right
But
now.
you want to know what is paranormal that's happening right now? You want to know what is paranormal that's happening? Is that I really do think we keep shifting timelines.
I do too.
All right, guys. Love you all. Smile. Remember to make someone else smile too. Bye.
Love you guys.
Thanks for watching. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe. See you next time